Well, good morning to a lot of people. This is Randy here with, I have radio satellites and astronomy channel. And you're probably figuring, what are you doing? Well, I'm cooking today. And, I used to, well, I still do sometimes, but some years in the past, I used to be with a lot of ham operators that go out into the field, parks, and do some live streams, make contacts and field day and everything. And if you see, a lot of the other hams have their own channels, and you see what they're doing when they do it. And they're out there and putting everything up, the antennas, the radios, and they got the park benches, and some even got their own RVs and everything. And big part of it is they bring a lot of food. And food, steaks, ribs, chicken, and big barbecues we would use. And they would, of course, have their drinks and ice water and soda pop, and they had everything. And we did a lot of cooking. And guess who was usually at the grill? Me. I would wear this, and I have a white one too, hat. They said, Randy, why don't you just, with your videos, put a cooking show in there, cook something, and see how the people like it, something new. So I said, oh, I've been putting it off for a long time, but I said, okay, I'll do it. So I'm doing some chicken, and I got some tomatoes going, and of course, some people, they'll be by later, and there are other ham operators, and we'll have some dinner here, and of course, some will like their wine and beer and, Heinekens. And so I said, okay, we'll give it a shot. So that's what I'm doing today. And just preparing some stuff. And I was on, last night, I was on 20 meters, kind of late. It was like 8:45 p.m. And I figured usually there's not too many people on Friday night. And but there was one guy, and his name's Tony. He's over in North Carolina. I talked to him a lot of times. He was on there. He was talking. CQ, CQ, CQ. A lot of times he does it. He goes on there, and mostly I was just listening, because I talked to him so many times. So that was going on, and of course I was tired. I was pooped. I've been got new cameras, and I got 3 different web cameras, and I'm going to hook one of the cameras outside so you can see the telescope when I'm doing some videos and live streams. Shows the telescope and the antennas and everything out there, and everything, you can see that part of that. And of course I have a radio shack, which is a side room towards the outside where the balcony is out there. Then I got an extra room that's a radio room. I got some more monitors in there, shortwave radios and everything, and some more monitors, but my other transceivers and radios, they're in the Radio Shack. So I have that. So I got all of that going, and so I've been busy with that. And of course, a lot of my friends, they have their own channels too, and and they do videos and live streams too. But they said they were checking my channel out, and they said, Randy, I said, you don't have that many videos up. You got to do more. And they said, well, later on, you want to make some money, don't you? And I said, well, be nice on the side. And so they said, you got to do more, and you got to have more people subscribe to your channel, but you got to put more videos out. So that's what in the process I'm doing. And of course, I'm going to try to go out on location, maybe go to some parks and stuff and do a live stream, make some contacts here and there. I said, okay, I got you. I got the message. And so I've been doing that. And I've always been doing cooking way back when. Way back in the 80s, early 80s, I used to do a lot of cooking, and I baked a lot of stuff, breads, cookies, all kinds of stuff, but not so much of that anymore. I've gotten away from that. So, but I'm starting to pick up some of it, and so I got, doing that. And I meet a lot of people in ham radio. Every once in a while I go to a club that's over in Ontario, California, and some meet there. And I meet all kinds of people just getting into the hobby, and I think the youngest people I've seen there is 10 years old through their teens. And I think the oldest I met is 85 years old. And the 85-year-old, I was talking to him, and he's going for his general. He said, I didn't have anything at home to do, being retired, so he was looking for a hobby. So he found ham radio, and he really likes it. So he's doing that. I told him I'm 71. I'm 71. And when I started in radio and fitness and stuff, and getting involved, like way back when, mid-70s through the 80s, I started in shortwave radios. I had all kinds of shortwave radios. I used to just listen, ham operators of every kind, 2 meters, 20, 40, 10, all kinds of stuff. And I didn't get into ham radio and I didn't get my license, my technician, until 2019. Before, I want to start talking to ham operators. Of course, I got all my license. I'm on an extra now. And, but I learned a lot about antennas. I love working on the antennas. I have an elk antenna out there that I use on satellites and the ISS. And of course, I have an HF antenna, and then got my telescope, cameras, and everything out there. So I've been really busy with that, and so I'm doing that. And my favorite band to be on is 20 meters. It's 20 meters. And but then I get on 15, 17, 10 when it's open. And I told 10, 6 when it's open. 40, I've been noticing a lot here in Southern California. Even other ham operators told me that sometimes 40 is not so clear anymore. It's like kind of hard. I mean, I can hear some of the people, but not like I used to. But I get on there every once in a while, and of course you got the 80. Now 80, I kind of like listening to. I'll talk once in a while. Usually on 38, 72, and but when you go on 80, you have to be kind of careful when you make a contact, because a lot of them are older people. Some of them live way out in the boonies. They have their own ranch and everything, and got these huge towers and everything, and they're kind of territorial, you know. Like, I don't know you. Who are you? So you have to try to get in there and explain what you're doing. You're just making a contact. You know, I've been listening to you guys. So, but then they say, okay, but that's 80 meters. And so I've been doing that, and all those, you know, everything. And of course, I'm into satellites. I really got into satellites, and I notice a lot of the young people are too. They're fascinated about satellites and UFOs and ISS, you know, International Space Station, and everything, and they're into all that, and their apprentices, and of course UFO means unidentified flying object, so it can be anything. It could be, but usually when you I can look into my telescope, and then usually I have the camera hooked up to it. A lot of it looks like stars moving around, and those are satellites. And sometimes you see shooting stars, and then if it's going over, then of course you got the ISS going over, and International Space Station has their 2-meter radio on there. You know, you can make a contact usually with other ham operators, which I do a lot of times. And but so far, I haven't been able to talk to an astronaut yet. It's going to happen one day. But not yet. It depends what time it is, what the astronauts are doing. You know, very fascinated. So, but a lot of times when I get on talk to, for example, when the ISS is going over my area here, I have anywhere from I would say 5 to 6 minute window of it going over to I can make a contact with the other ham operators. And but I notice when I do a satellite, like for example the SO50, they seem to go over faster to me on the map that I'm monitoring it with. Maybe then I usually have about with the satellites I have about 3, maybe 4 minute window, and the satellites are going like 17,000 miles an hour, where the ISS is going about 27,569 miles an hour. So, but it seems to me like the little satellites are going a little faster. But I'm used to that time, so you got to use that time pretty quick and try to make a contact. And but sometimes with the International Space Station, sometimes there's a pile up. everybody wants to talk, and everybody's in there, and they're, you know, talking, and what they're supposed to do is just give their call sign and their grid square, but some of them want to talk. It's no place for a rag chew, because other operators trying to make a contact. So I never said anything, you know, like, come on, break it up. But I never did, you know. I'd like to. But you're going to run into that. And another thing with the people, with the, here, let me get the units over here. The people who, for example, I talked to them who just got their technician, and a lot of them talk to me and, oh, I don't know how far I want to go. Maybe general, maybe, or maybe not extra. Or I said, look, with a technician, you can do the satellites in an International Space Station on top of 2 meters, 70 centimeters, 10 meters, which is big. That's a big band when it's open. You can do that. And but if you want to get up higher, then you have to get your general to get in the HF bands, you know. And they said, well, okay, yeah, that's good. And but it just depends how far they want to go. But I noticed that, like I said before, a lot of the especially the young people, they're really into satellites and UFOs. Like I said, they really are. I don't know if they're talking about flying saucers. You know, I don't know if a lot of you remember, what was it, last year? They had the thing, it was all over the TV, internet, and these lights are in the skies, all over the nation. And people were getting really freaked out. They couldn't tell what they were, but they were just glowing lights, and they're going all around. All of a sudden they disappear. Some came from the ocean, and they went back into the ocean, and they went down and disappeared. And that was over here in California, off the coast of where was it? Huntington Beach. They recorded it. So it was going on for a long time. It was really fun. It was exciting to me. And but a lot of people thought that it was the government doing testing, or was it people who had a lot of money and they had these big drones, you know, fancy drones that they had, you know, you get them like this, and they're big. Depends how much you want to invest. So they were thinking that, but then people really, the news people were getting involved, and they were pressing the government, asking them, is that you out there doing that? And they said, no, that's not us. You know, we're not out there doing that. Blah, 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 blah. And pretty soon, it just all of a sudden stopped. It just stopped. Nobody could find out who it was, anything. It was bizarre. I'm sure if some of you out there might remember that. I did. I thought it was a blast. I loved it. And so, you know, that was going on. And so now I got my telescope with the camera. I got a couple of, I'm going to do more with it, with the sky and the stars at night. And you might notice on a couple of the videos, you might notice a little whitish. You've seen a little whitish on towards the bottom. That's the city lights. And I found out through the internet, and some people I know of, they said, well, you have to get a filter. There's a filter for that will filter that city lights out. You might notice there's some whitish on there. That's the city lights. And of course, I live in the city, and unless I go out to the desert or up in the mountains, and I can get away from that. But they said you can get a filter, and they go anywhere from $50 to $100 to put it on your telescope. So I have to get that. So anyway, so I get that going, and anyway, you know, and I don't know. The thing I was going to talk about is I noticed for example, I have transceiver. I have the 991A. Also, I have the 7300. But it was some years ago. I saw the this was first coming out some years ago. Was the Icon 9700. And I was going to actually buy it, and I think at that time it was $1,700, and then but I wanted the 7300, so I went through the 7300, and I knew that at that time it did satellites with the 9700, 2 meters, 70 centimeters. And but it had a special settings in there for the satellites. And I said, well, maybe I'll get it later. So now I looked at it again, thinking about it, and looking at it, and stuff, and I noticed it's $2,000. Amazon used to carry it, but they don't carry it no more. So it's like radio outlet, and DX Engineering and some of the other places. They're $2,000, and I thought, so wow. And I know it's a popular radio because mainly of the satellites. But there's two ham operators who were well known. They have their own radio channels. They said, I can't say their names because I don't have their permission, say what they might have said. And they said that the 9700 is overpriced and overrated. And I kind of agree with them. But then I talked to people who have the 9700, and then they say it's a great radio. It's great for satellites and those things, and mainly it's specialized in that. And of course, I think that brought the radio became popular, and of course the price went back up to $2,000. I tried looking for used, like on eBay. They're $1,600-1,700. Like, if I'm going to buy something, I buy brand new, always. But I think I'll wait a little bit. I'll see if it comes down. My 991A works very good with satellites and the ISS. And but I'll see. Do you have a 9700? Let me know in the comments. But I hear from all the other ham operators, they say it's great. They don't put it down. So, can I go buy one? Yeah, sure, but why? I invested into a nice, powerful telescope, but I'll see. But let me know what you think. And anyway, I don't know. Let me show you over here what I'm doing over here. Bring the camera over here. Oh boy, it's been hot. A little cooler today. I think it's like 94. And this is like my beer, my cake, and this, and this, I'm drinking there, thinking of this, and of course you can see I have plenty of wine. I'm really not a wine drinker, but at this right here, the keg, I used to buy. Oh, let me put this back up. Let me put it. Sorry, move you around. See if I can get you back in there. See if I. Let me see if I got you. I think I got you right. And the Heineken, it's a little keg like that. I think you've seen them. And that thing works. That thing will keep it cold. It works, but the stores around here don't seem to carry those kegs anymore. And I have to go over to Temecula, California. It's up on the freeway, the 15 freeway, and there's a store there that carries them. But they don't seem to carry them around here anymore. So I buy the bottles. But it works. And of course, my beer is Heineken. A lot of my friends drink it, so. But that's what we do, and they come over, you know, and some of them like their wine. I'm not too much for wine. Maybe a red wine once in a while. But anyway, but the that's mainly what I've been doing. But my friend said, you got to be working more on your channel, which I am. If I later on today, I'll try to do another video and about satellites and get into the Radio Shack in there and turn on the monitors. I got 3 different monitors in there, and of course I have to fire them all up and kind of track some of the satellites, and you know, and of course the ISS and station comes over, and but I got that going, and some of my friends were, the other ham operators, saying that maybe, I think a friend of theirs went over to Nevada. You heard of that Area 51, haven't you? You know, where the secret bases there. I think it's the government makes special weapons or aircraft. But then there's a lot of talk that they have UFOs in there. They're hiding them, or flying saucer, or anyway. They said if you go out there, not on towards the base, not onto the base, because they do have security there, and I guess governmental, there's soldiers or Air Force, they're armed. So they got cameras everywhere. So, but there's like a slight off to the road there, because there's no street lights. They got these roads that go out there to it, and it's pitch dark. There's no street lights, especially at night. But there is like a rest area in different places. You can pull off, and then you wait till night, and it's just, you look up. They said it's magic. Blanket of stars, just glowing, millions of them. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. So I think we have a friend who has an RV, and he was talking about if we want to go out that way, maybe a couple of days, and go out to that area. I'll bring the telescope and everything. They got some telescopes too, and the cameras, and let's see what we can see out there. But you don't want to get too close to the gates of Area 51, because they do have helicopters that do come around there, and they'll kind of look, see what you're doing. So, but I think the Air Force has that. So we'll see on that one. So anyway, so we got that in the works, and oh wow, it's good, you know. Entertain, experiences, and you know, things that we do, and be on the radio and everything. So later on, hopefully, I get enough time today. I'll try to see what the satellites are up to, and everything, and get that, maybe have enough time to get that going. So I'd like to have all of you have a great Saturday, great day. Be safe out there. Watch out for the heat. Drink plenty of water. Plenty of water. Yesterday, and part of today, I was drinking like water like crazy. Bottled water. Oh, I was drinking it. But it's summertime. So, and then hopefully I'll get back with you guys, and we'll start maybe doing some live streams here. Maybe another cooking, maybe a live stream, and maybe I'll make a stir fry next time, or one of those dishes, and which I do sometimes. And then I'll get back to you guys. Okay. So this is Randy, and KN6BZG. That's my call sign, and I'll get back to you guys and with another video. Okay. So everybody, take it easy. I don't have my clicker. I used to have a clicker, and I can't find it, so I think I got to order one. So I have to go up here like this and go